welcome to Nashville Superspeedway for the very first time. The Darkmatter Designs Cup Series. We're racing this 1.33 mile concrete track just to the east of Nashville, Tennessee. I'm joined in the booth tonight by Chris Spears. And Chris, what a race we have going on here tonight with these guys racing a track that's unfamiliar and totally different than what they're used to. It's going to be a challenge for all these drivers out here tonight.
It certainly is. This is just one of the many tracks these guys are going to for the first time this year. Went to COTA a couple of weeks ago, and it really showed who all got the most amount of practice in. I feel like that's going to kind of be the telling sign here also tonight, Jared.
Yeah, let's look at what's going on in the league right now. So we had an all-star break last week. If you missed that, that was an incredible race with the next-gen cars, but they are back to the regular cars here tonight. And we got qualifying underway right now, and you'll see that going on in the background. As right now, we have, looks like Jeff Chandler to the top of the board. Brody Hanna just 400 slower as qualifying continuing to go, as you'll see some drivers on the track. Bernard Person going by as well. But Chris, you look at this Nashville Superspeedway. I mean, it's not a superspeedway in the modern sense, in the traditional sense. It is 1.33 miles. And this track, 14 degrees of banking. What are we going to expect here tonight on a track that we don't have anything else to compare it to?
Well, the biggest thing about this track is figuring out how to pass people. It's a very difficult track to pass to begin with, but a lot of different grooves. You can use either a middle or low or high. But when you get around other cars, the air on these cars just makes them so much more hard to get around other cars.
That's going to be something also, Chris, the low downforce package back in use here tonight. We last saw that at Dover and Darlington back in May. As you see some guys still getting some qualifying in. Bobby Terrell out there right now coming across the line. And he is going to be doing, it looks like, a fifth place qualifying effort for the 5 machine. Driving the Kyle Larson machine that Kyle won yesterday. Maybe that's some good omen. We see Dean Doucette on the track right now. And, Chris, we take a look at this race information here. It is a 89-degree day, 105-degree track temp. That's going to make this concrete surface even harder to handle.
It certainly will. Tires are, even though they have a harder compound in real life, that's not exactly the same case here in the iRacing world. These guys will have to really watch those tires. One wrong slip, and they could be hanging on for an entire run.
We take a look at the point standings coming into tonight's race. Bobby Terrell leading that by 40 points over Case McMullen, Richie Coy, Troy Torgerson, Dale Nearad, your top 5. Any driver that you see with a gray or alternating gray background means they have won a race and are potentially locked in the field. As you look down the rest of that list, Lane Allen, Case McMullen, the highest in the points without a win yet this season. Bernard Person also without a win yet. Chris, can we see a first-time winner here tonight, or is it going to be something where the veterans are going to show up to get this thing done?
You just mentioned a couple of our points leaders, and looking at the qualifying order, they're up front. So if someone new wants to win a race here tonight, they're going to have to fend off some of these guys that are fighting for a championship.
Exactly right, and we do take a look real quick at that qualifying orders. We still have just a little bit of time left here, but Dean Doucette, 0.02 of a second. You see Jason Martin sitting on the back straightaway. But Brody Hanna, 0.04 of a second. Brian Helm, hundredths of a second. I mean, this is very close in qualifying, Chris. I mean, you're talking about the top 5 drivers, less than a tenth between them.
Absolutely. That's going to let you know that these guys are going to be fighting for position as soon as the green flag comes out here tonight, because position between these drivers is going to matter all the more, because they know they're battling other guys that are just as fast as them.
Exactly right. And over the last 2 weeks, we have saw Jeff Chandler be very, very solid, Chris, and he has been a guy that has been able to get the job done. He's won 2 road course races, 2 of the last 3 races, COTA and Sonoma, and he did not participate at the Charlotte Oval event, not the All-Star event, but the actual 300-mile event we had. But he has won the last 2 races he's participated in. Is he going to be the odds-on favorite tonight?
Well, if you ask him, the answer to that is obviously going to be a yes. But there's a bunch of guys here that are not gonna just pull over and let him have that 3rd victory in a row.
All right, let's see if we can get a hold of Jeff Chandler. Jeff, it's the Full Throttle TV booth up here. You got a copy on us?
I got you loud and clear.
All right, Jeff. Well, first off, congratulations on grabbing the pole. I mean, that was a pretty close qualifying, but you were able to put the 31 machine on the top, and you've been on a roll. I mean, you do miss the every other race, but when you've been out here, the last 2 races you've been in, both road courses, you've won, and now you're on an oval. Can you remember to turn just left now?
I'm sure going to try. Let me tell you, it's like a welcome sight to see an oval finally.
Yeah, no doubt. And this is a late edition. I don't think, the last time that we talked, I don't think anybody's expected this track to be available by iRacing. Did that give you any time to prepare, or is this kind of like, we're all in the same boat here tonight?
Yeah, I think it's we're all in the same boat because as soon as it came out, we went to work on it, and I think we were really prepared. I had a really great week in A Open, so I mean, I felt pretty confident that we were solid and good on the long run. So that's what I'm hoping for tonight. Is I mean, we're all even pretty much on the short run, but after 20 laps, that's going to tell the difference in who's going and who's coming.
And Chris, Jeff, we said he won the last 2 races, and you were talking about, maybe him being the odds-on favorite. What do you think?
Well, I feel prepared. Let's just put it that way. But I would never go out there and say I think I can win. But because you know how everybody is here. I mean, there's just so many good. Dean's really solid. Brody's really solid. I mean, look at the top 10. I mean, there's just some fast racers here, and it's definitely a joyful when you win one of these races because of the competition.
For sure, Jeff. Well, we appreciate you stopping by. Chris, do you got anything for the man on the point tonight?
I don't. Best of luck tonight, Jeff, and we'll see if we can keep that car up front tonight.
All right, thank you, Chris. Thanks, Jared.
All right, that was Jeff Chandler, the driver of the number 31, Abruzzi Racewear and Reaper Sim Sports, I believe, group there. But man, what a drive he's had this season, and going into this race, winning the races that he has. He's, like we said, won the last 2 road course events. Now he's on an oval. It'll be nice to see what happens here tonight. 38 drivers are what we have tonight. Now, the increase of field, 43 is the max now, if not 40. So we probably won't send anybody home, but still a large field for this track.
It certainly is a large field, and even though this track is a little over a mile, these guys are going to be all up on one another for the entire race. It's really hard to get separated out here because even though it's a smaller track, the draft still plays a key fact here.
Sure does. Well, while we were waiting down the end of warm-up, we are going to go ahead and hear the national anthem as performed by Alyssa Ship.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the lands of the free and the home of the brave?
And we are fired up, ready to go here tonight at Nashville Superspeedway. Let's look and take a look at this grid here, Chris, and let's get into our starting lineup here at Nashville Superspeedway. And we start off at the top with Jeff Chandler on the pole. He won the pole by 0.02 of a second over Dean Doucette. Row number 2 will be Brody Hanna and Brian Helm. Row number 3 will be Bobby Terrell and Troy Torgerson. Row 4, Bernard Person and Richie Coy, and rounding out your top 10, Ralph Nolan Jr. and Randall Ballard.
In row number 6, you'll have Tracy Powers and Tim Bills. Behind them, Kenneth Schultz and Wayne Grossi make up the row 13th. Row 14 is going to be Greg Holt and Jason Speer. 15th will be Rachel Hunt and Mike Watts. Row 16 is going to be Gary Griffith and Sherwood Williford, rounding out your top 20.
Looking back in row 11, Jason Martin and Bill Benedict will be there. Row 12, Ronnie Royal and Gil Goff back there in that group. Row number 13 will be Matt Geringer making his return to the race, and Steven Vrooman back there. Row 14 will be Donnie Staubitz and John Held. Row 15, TJ Bartell and Kevin Rupert, and that'll be your top 30, Chris.
Jeff Winter will start 31st. Beside him, Andrew Palicki in the 32 position. 33 will be Josh Mankiw. 34 will be Jeff Bratton. Case McMullen, one of our points leaders, in the 35th position. Chad Lane, 36th, and rounding out your field here tonight, Brandon Elder in the 37th position.
37 drivers here tonight will take the grid. That is going to be a big field here tonight as everybody is ready to get this thing underway here tonight in the Nashville 200. And Chris, we look at this group and they're getting ready to go. What kind of pre-race adjustments are you making? What kind of thoughts are you going into when we have a brand new track on the schedule? Do you race it the same way, or do you go a little bit more conservative?
Well, it really kind of depends. I mean, at the very beginning of the race, you're kind of looking at the weather. That's really the only key that you can look at. Whether or not the temperature is high or low, which it's looking like 88 degrees right now as far as the air temperature. Track's cooled down to 103, but it's still not a significant enough change for me to make any adjustments right now. At this point, I think I'm going to ride around unless I know that my car gets loose on a short run. I may not do any adjustments here because you don't know what's going to happen, if they're going to have a long flag run or a caution-filled race here.
Exactly right, and we will see how this race transpires as we continue on. But right now, it is ready to go. It's almost game time here at Nashville Superspeedway as the drivers are going to get ready to line up. It's going to be Jeff Chandler in the Ford, the Abruzzi Ford, alongside Dean Doucette in the ESBC, the boxing game, on the outside of him, and then another group of Fords, Hanna and Torgerson, Bobby Terrell, and Randall Ballard with a great qualifying in the top 6. Pace car is off, and let's get this thing underway. Flagman with the flag in the air, and we are green here at Nashville Superspeedway for the first time in FTSR history.
Great jump there by Jeff Chandler as he's able to get in front of Dean Doucette pretty easily going into turn 1.
Filtering through very solidly through the turns. Couple drivers looking up the track behind him. That's Randall Ballard, a little bit out of shape. Holds onto the machine. Ralph Nolan's going to dip underneath there. Tim Bill's also in there as well. And we got already some drivers trying to search around, find some grip on the outside. 3 wide behind him. And Bills will step out of that. Bernard Person loose off the corner. Nolan shoots the gap.
Man, what a great run there through the middle for Ralph Nolan. Able to get around Person and and Terrell there pretty easily in the middle of that corner. Man, that was just some tight racing. There's still 3 wide behind them.
Wide behind him, that is Tim Bills in the sandwich. Jason Speer thought he was letting off. He did not. There's still 3 wide through the corner. Bills in the middle, Powers on the outside, Speer on the inside, still 3 wide through the tri-oval.
None of these guys want to give up any inch at all. It looks like Speer is going to tuck behind Bills here, making it just 2 wide here. But, man, what a great battle these guys had going on.
Whoa, and Tracy Powers loose up on the high side. Mike Watts had to go take evasive action. He's going to make it 3 wide. He's going to jump underneath Jason Speer. This is where the battle is. This is on the back half of the top 10, round 12th position, I should say. And now Jason Speer moves ahead of Tracy Powers. Chris, these cars already look a little bit loose on that high side.
These guys must be planning for a long green flag run here because they have these cars set up to be wicked loose at the start of the run, Jared.
behind them. Rachel Hunt, a 3-time winner in this series. Sherwood Williford, a 7-time winner, and the all-time leader in race starts in the Cup Series there behind him. And those guys, both of them, folks, girls and guys, very conservative. What do you do in that position when you're a driver that likes to be patient and you see these drivers jumping all over each other 5 laps into the race?
Well, at this point, you're either going to do whatever you can to get around them or let them get away from you here for a bit. But this is one of those tracks, if we have long green flag runs here, Jared, giving up any amount of time here will be costly through the rest of the race.
Well, at the same time that's been going on, Jeff Chandler has opened up about an 0.8 of a second lead. Troy Torgerson was able to make the big move on the start, and he got up to second place. Brody Hanna in third, that's where he started, and Dean Doucette dropped 2 spots at the start. He's got Ralph Nolan Jr. all over. Ralph Nolan having one of his best showings so far in the season. His last great run was Atlanta and got caught up in a green-white checker accident. He's got a little damage on the rear end, but that Employer-nomics car looking very good tonight.
Yeah, at the very start of the race, Dean Doucette got a little bit loose, and that's how he was able to lose that position there to Troy Torgerson and one to Brody Hanna. But he gathered it back up, even though Ralph Nolan's right on his tail.
Looking through this field, one driver that is moved backwards is Brian Helm. He must have missed the grid. He is started 4th, but he's actually dropped to 35th, and he is all by himself. I'm guessing he missed the start, is what I'm guessing. Because I don't have any information that he had any issues. And Jeff Bratton is on pit road.
Yeah, Jeff Bratton actually caught the wall a few laps ago and had a little bit of damage, but still a little bit early to be pitting, I would think, unless the damage was too severe. And yeah, Brian Helm did indeed miss the start.
So there you go. He's catching up to Casey Mullen at the back of this pack. But right now, this Chris has gotten to a single file spot. Torgerson and Chandler got a little bit of a gap, but now the gap is starting to close back down. Brody Hanna's got Dean Doucette and Ralph Nolan and Bernard Persson all right on the back of him right now. That third position's starting to heat up right now, 9 laps into the race.
It certainly is, and even behind them, for the battle for 5th, we got going on side by side with Bernard Persson trying to get underneath Ralph Nolan Jr. here going into 3.
Jumping on board, looking out the back, and Nolan's going to let him go without much hesitation there. So Persson up to 5th, and that was one of those moves like, hey, I'm going to let you go. It's 10 laps into the race. We don't need to race that hard. Nolan letting Bernard Persson go by already. Man, that's a good move. Bobby Terrell sitting right there in the foreground. I mean, he is a guy that we got to keep an eye on in every race we go to, Chris, and he is just letting that 5 car kind of come to him already. And it kind of helps he's wearing the colors that Kyle Larson wore yesterday.
It certainly helps as far as the viewpoint, but unfortunately, Jared, he's lost 2 positions on the start here, so he's not going the right direction. It's not really very Kyle Larson-like.
That is true, but it is a little bit Bobby Terrell like. We look at some of the other changes going on in this race. Tim Bills won the last oval we were at Charlotte Motor Speedway. He is now in 8th spot, up 4 positions, taking with him Wayne Grassi in the 7 machine and Mike Watts in the 3 machine, all up significant positions. Chris, is that a system of these guys just have a car that's kind of built for a longer run, or is it a little bit of attrition already in this race?
Well, with 12 laps into the race, I would say that they actually have a short car run, and that's what we're seeing here. A lot of these guys that are sliding back most likely have set up their car to be a lot better on the long run. 12 laps, even though it doesn't seem like it here, isn't that far of a distance. So they're trying to do whatever they can to preserve their cars, and that might be why we see a lot of different guys moving to the front right now, as they were set up for these short runs early on.
And Mike Watts, one of the Tennessee natives. Also, shout out to Kevin Rupert. He's not here. He went to the race at Nashville Superspeedway yesterday, so he's not racing tonight, but he's also a Nashville native. So we got some Nashvillians in the race here tonight, so a little bit of extra motivation. We look further back. We got a little bit battling, but everybody kind of starting to find their groove and get single file. We look back. We got Steven Vrooman up 5 positions in 21st. Kevin Rupert is in the race. Sorry, Kevin. He's back there. Another one of those Nashville, Tennessee drivers, and he is up 6 positions to 24th. But, Chris, the guy I was circling in, I guess you could call it, the pre-race practice on Sunday night, TJ Bartel, he didn't qualify good. He's only up 4 spots, but that 88 car looked to have very, very good long-run pace. I look forward to him to come forward.
Absolutely, as we have a battle up here for the second and third positions, as Brody Hanna is starting to fall off and Troy Torgerson has started to move forward.
And we see that on our screen. Dean Doucette just got around him. We just missed that. But we can get a quick look in and see how that was set up on our rapid replay here. And here's Dean Doucette going down into turn number turn 1, I should say, and gets a great run off the corner. Troy Torgerson just could not hold the bottom. Dean Doucette goes around.
And I don't know if Chandler up in the lead here is holding back or not, but the last couple of laps, Dean Doucette was actually faster than our leader by almost a tenth each lap until he was trying to make the moves to get around those other competitors. Now he's a little bit slower at the moment.
And you see that the time delta graph we have up in the bottom right-hand side of your screen shows that story. The graph has slowly and steadily come down, except for the lap that he made that pass. Let's see if he can regain it back on this lap, as we are already 17 laps into the book here tonight. And that time he did gain a little bit, about a tenth a second.
At that pace right now, it will take him about 15 laps to actually get up to our leader. But, you know, that's still faster, Jared, and that's what matters here in this long run that we're seeing right now.
Bernard Persson, the only driver in the top 5 that has not won a race. He's just now gotten underneath Brody Hanna. So move Bernard Persson in the 8 machine up into 4th position. And now Bobby Terrell is stalking the 23 of Brody Hanna for Fury Motorsports. Chris, we jump on board with Bernard Persson and take us a lap through this track and what the viewers at home are kind of missing out on how rough this surface is.
Well, as we go down here into the turn 3, you can actually see all the bumps that this track has on it. And it really makes it a little bit hard because you don't know exactly when to get on and off of the throttle here. And that's the biggest key at this track, Jared.
Going down into turn 182 miles an hour before he's on the brakes. Drops this thing down to about 127, 26 miles an hour. Picks up the gas again. That is about, 50 mile an hour drop off, Chris?
It certainly is, and you can watch that fall off is going to get worse and worse throughout the rest of this race, or at least this run. These guys will probably pick up a little bit of speed when they make their first pit stop, but really their fastest laps of the race are going to be in this first run.
Bernard Persson, the defending champion, 2-time Cup Series champion, 13 wins in his Cup career. As we jump back out and look at how this race is transpiring, Jeff Chandler has led from start to finish, 20 laps into the book. Dean Doucette, about a second and a half. That gap has changed here and there, but it's been an average of about a second and a half. Troy Torgerson has dropped back to 3rd. Bernard Persson right now looking to be one of the faster drivers on track, but does he have enough time to move forward? He's just a click slower than those other guys. Brody Hanna in 5th spot, getting pressure right now and we got a caution out. It's Steven Vrooman in the 00. And maybe some other action happened as well. Let's take a look and see what happened. So we got TJ Bartel. Right in front of them is Gary Griffith and Jason Martin. So Vrooman goes into the corner. Oh, he gets down on the apron, and he slides up the racetrack, gets into Gary Griffith. TJ Bartel's there. Gil Gock gets into him, and Donnie Staubitz gets into him. Kevin Rupert into him. And John Held may have gotten into the back of somebody there, but I don't think there's significant damage on any of those vehicles.
No, not at all. They'll be able to get back out there. That's a good thing about how wide this track really is. For being such a short track, it has a lot of different room for you to be able to escape things.
We jump on board John Held here, so he is driving down the back straightaway. And you're going to see this wreck right there. And he's off the gas, and the smoke is just thick, and he almost runs into the back. I'm not sure what car that was. Maybe Jeff Bratton in the 55? Could not tell. It's a new paint scheme, whoever that was. But that caution is going to be the first one. 23 laps into the race. I'll tell you who this helps out. Brian Helm, a guy that missed the start. Now he gets to get that opportunity to get that car back out there. But right now, everybody down on pit road, Chris.
A lot of these guys were looking forward to this thing going green, but another couple of guys that were not are those guys that had their car set up for the short run. You can see here, everyone's going to come down and get tires because it's going to make that car feel good, but not only that, it gives you a chance to work on it if you're sliding back.
Let's take a look at that race analysis as you see the race off pit road on your screen. Chandler wins it, Doucette, and then Hannah with a great pit stop beating Troy Torgerson out. Tim Bills picks up 3 spots on pit road. He goes to 5th. Bernard Person, not a great stop. He loses 3 spots. So some pit road thing. And Chris, while we were bringing up this race analysis, pit window, these guys can do 65 laps on a tank. But if this race went green, we expect these guys to come in on lap 50. Now we have a caution. Kind of changes how this race is going to be a little bit.
It certainly will, as these guys now will still need to make 2 more stops to get to the end of this race. But this gives them the opportunity to play a little bit more strategy than they were going to do before the caution.
Exactly right. So we look at the pit lane times, and this is, this is something we don't talk about, Chris, a lot. But man, you look at the advantage, I guess you could say, on getting a good pit stop, and you look at the pit lane time or pit stop time by Tim Bills. I mean, he was the fastest of this entire group. I mean, you look at Troy Torgerson, 15.1, but Tim Bills at a 14.3. So he was the man on pit road.
He certainly was, and this is with iRacing, you don't have to worry about your crew, whether or not they're doing their job correctly or not. It's all about the driver and how the driver gets in and off of pit road and in their stall, Jared. That's where a lot of the time is made up here.
Yeah, and that's the next point, the pit lane time. Tim Bills, 2 seconds quicker than Dean Doucette, Bernard Person, Bobby Terrell. I mean, about a 1 second quicker than Hannah, 2 seconds quicker than Torgerson. I mean, he did great getting in his box, getting on pit road, and that's what you need to do to get some spots up. And we'll have to see how that number 77 driver fares as this race goes on.
Some of these guys are excited to go back green here. A lot of other guys probably had to make a lot of changes to their cars just because of the way that they were handling early on. So it'd be great to see them stack them back up, Jared, and racing side by side again, as we'd kind of went single file here for a while.
Yeah, we did, and now everything kind of changes again, like we said. So it's still a 2-stop race. These guys cannot make it on 1 stop from here. But Chris, there is that opportunity for somebody to maybe stretch it, because you think about it. We're on lap 25 when these things go green. If they make 65 laps, that puts them at lap 81. Another 65 laps puts them at 146. So they're going to have to, if somebody can find a way to save 4 laps, they might be able to do it. But at the same time, it may be for all for naught. We might have another caution.
Absolutely right. And you know what they say, cautions breed cautions, as we're getting ready to go green here at Nashville Superspeedway.
So it's going to be Jeff Chandler leading the post again. Dean Doucette, it's just like we started. The top 2 the same. Swap Torgerson and Hannah. Otherwise, the top 4 are exactly the same. Bills, Person, Terrell, Grossi, Rachel Hunt in the top 10, with Mike Watts following her up through the field, is right now what we're looking at as we are about ready to get this thing back under green here in Nashville. Pace car is off.
Green flag.
And green flag is back out here in Nashville. Great start by Jeff Chandler. Dean Doucette did not get one, though.
No, he did not. It looked like he spun the tires watching Jeff Chandler, and Chandler is pulled away. He's already got a 4/10 of a second lead heading into 1.
Battling all over the back. Torgerson back to second place underneath Dean Doucette. Now we got Tim Bills joining the mix.
Behind them, Person and Terrell, the 5 and the 8 are side by side. 5, give it to him coming out of the corner there. Looks to, nope, not going to be able to clear the 8, as they're still side by side.
And his team owner and teammate right behind him, Dean Doucette, might have clipped the wall on the front straightaway, losing some more time. So the 5 and the 7, they're teammates. pushing each other through the front. Jason Speer behind him gets a little bit loose, gets the apron. Carr washes up the track. That's going to check some people up. Bill Benedict, Kenneth Schultz had to take action. Ronnie Royal in there, almost 3 wide. Gary Griffith pulls out. There's battling all over the track right now, Chris.
There certainly is, and not to be outdone, Speer gets it back in it and takes the high line. Only lost 2 positions after that little mishap with the apron.
Troy Torgerson getting away from there. At the same time, Troy Torgerson's getting away. Chandler's getting away. He just turned the best lap of the race at a 29.41, which is a 10th quicker than Troy Torgerson. Now Tim Bills has gotten his way around the 23. So now Tim Bills, the last time we were on an oval, he won. That was at Charlotte. Not quite the same track, Chris, but this 77 car looking very, very stout already.
Certainly is. Not quite the dominating performance that we saw from the Charlotte race with him in it, but man, making his way up, already up 9 positions on the night.
Everybody inside the top 10, single file. Our first battle is that Gary Griffith machine battling with Jason Speer, Jason Speer battling with Kenneth Schultz. Behind them, Ronnie Royal and Jason Martin battling side by side. Those guys, that's a battle for 16th position. But everybody else already getting single file. And, man, I like the way that the race is kind of playing out right now, Chris.
Yeah, we were talking about Jason Martin there for a hot minute with him in the 24. They actually made contact in the corner, Jared, and there's contact again with the 19 in the 24.
Ronnie Royal just a little bit snuggy, if you will, there to the guys on the bottom. Jason Speer a little bit loose in front of him. Royal's going to go ahead and slide in front of Richie Coy, and Ronnie Royal just looked like he was done losing spots. He's going to get down on the bottom. You look at some of these drivers straggling back there. Donnie Staubitz with maybe some damage. Jeff Winter has lost a lap. But I did not see him involved in that wreck. But I don't know, Chris, if you can give me an update. But I don't see any damage on that 31 machine.
Yeah, if he had any damage, he's already got it fixed and repaired from that last stop. But we got a car slow on the track.
Andrew Poliski up into the wall, hard into the wall. We're going to stay green, but he's going to lose all that track position. And he is going to drop to the last car, or second to last car, that 96 car. Really, something bad is happening to that machine. He's headed to pit road. He's on the emergency access road. Back up front, Jeff Chandler leading by about a 10th now over Troy Torgerson. Tim Bills hasn't been able to close that gap down to the 98. Brody Hanna looks a little bit better this run. Maybe not using his stuff up just as much here in this race on the second run here.
Well, that and he could have made a pretty big adjustment on pit road. Like we talked about, if he knew his car was not handling well, had a great opportunity to adjust it. And looking back at the 96 car, it looks like he just went into the corner a little bit hard and had to slam on the brakes. And when he did, the car just went straight up into the wall. Almost looked like a blown tire.
And it could have been. That is something that iRacing does have in there. And if you lock the brakes up too much, that tire will let go. Just like in real life. Andrew Poliski still on pit road. And we got a little bit of battle here. Mike Watson, Sher Williford. That's a battle for 10th place. Williford up 9 positions. Watts up 8. Rachel Hunt just in front of him up 8. And Bill Benedict just behind him up 10. So we got some movers in this mid-pack right now, Chris.
Yeah, we certainly do. And Rachel Hunt is trying to make the outside lane work around Wayne Grossi in that number 7 machine.
Rachel Hunt has not had the season that she's wanted, although you look back at Kansas, looked like she had that race in control, got caught up in a very late accident in that race and kind of took away her chance at a victory. Looking good tonight. Ooh, she might have, I don't think she hit the wall, but that was very close as she's battling with Wayne Grossi.
If she didn't hit the wall, you could certainly not fit a piece of paper in between her and the wall. That's for sure, as it looked so like she was completely against it. But she didn't lose any time. She's still side by side with the number 7.
Donnie Staubitz spins, but that will not bring out a caution. He's by himself, so we stay green. Wayne Grossi now, he is working on the, but man, you're right, Chris. Rachel Hunt, right in the middle of that corner. She just has a little bit extra power, but Wayne Grossi finally going to clear her.
Yes, she decided to go down a little bit low there to try to pinch off the number 7 into the corner there. It actually hurt her because she was able to use that outside to gain momentum in laps previous, but wasn't able to do it there, and that's why the 7 is able to get around her pretty easily.
Back up front, the top 5 have kind of strung themselves out. Then you have Bobby Terrell, literally in no man's land. I can't believe you could say that about a guy running 6, but he is currently a second behind Bernard Person and a second behind ahead of Dean Doucette. Exactly. So he is literally a second between his next positions.
Hey, that's at least the safest place to be, is having no one in front of you and no one behind you. He's just doing it a little bit different than our leader, Jeff Chandler, with a second lead over Torgerson in that 98 machine.
We jump on board the ESBC Esports Boxing Club, number 29 of Dean Doucette, looking back at that number 7 Pennzoil machine of Wayne Grossi, and there is a line checked up behind Dean Doucette all the way back to, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that is Jason Speer at the very end of this line. So about 7 cars all behind Dean Doucette. And if you're Dean Doucette, Chris, in this position, the last thing you want to do is move up the racetrack and lose the position, because you could go all the way back from 7th place to like 15th.
You certainly can, and at the moment, he doesn't have the 7 right on his bumper, so there's no real threat at the moment, but that's about to change here as he's catching him pretty quickly.
And Jason Martin is the last car in this group as we continue to look back at this group here, Chris. And you know, you think about this race, we've already seen kind of some phases, but the comers and goers, we've actually really seen some drivers that have been able to pick up some positions early in this race. We talked about Sherrill Williford up 10 positions. He gets around Mike Watts. Bill Benedict up 10 positions. You talk about Tim Bills up 9 positions. There are some drivers out here that are already figuring out this track, especially since everybody's pretty much had the same amount of time on. Nobody's been on the service longer to have more time on it because it just came out. This has been kind of a great equalizer for these drivers here today.
It certainly has, and it's put on pretty good showing throughout the field here, as we've had a lot of comers and goers early on, Jared.
Very much so. We've talked a lot about the comers. Let's talk about some of the goers. We're not going to mention Richie Coy, who had a penalty, who had to start at the back of the pack, or Brian Helm, who missed the start. But some drivers moving backwards. Ralph Nolan Jr., Chris, he was up in the top 5, battling with these guys, and he has dropped all back to 20th position at number 95 as TJ Bartel gets underneath of him.
Yeah, it's a lot of dropping there for him. But right behind him, Tracy Powers, who caught the wall early in that first run, has also lost 10 positions as well.
And both those drivers going the wrong way. Randall Ballard, who qualified in the top 10, also going the wrong way. He is down into 26, dropped 16 positions. Greg Holt, who is off the back. I mean, he is well off the back right now. I don't see any damage on that 32 machine, but he is 16 places down right now, not having the night he wanted. Especially after winning a couple races ago.
Yeah, and I actually do think he was involved in either a wreck earlier or something as such, because he is pretty well off the pace, almost 3 to 4 tenths of the lap slower than the cars around him.
So a tough night for the RPM Motorsports guys, except Jeff Chandler in that number 31 machine, who continues to lead. He's led all 43 laps as we are approaching. But right now, that 5th place battle of Bobby Terrell, he has now caught up to the back of this group. We have a huge gaggle of cars battling for 2nd place. Torgerson, Bills, Hanna, Person, and Terrell all in this group, 2 seconds behind Chandler.
Yeah, all these guys right here up on one another. This is a great battle going on here for these spots. As you see, Terrell there in the 5 is going to get underneath Person in that 8 car, and they're going to go side by side at the line.
Bobby Terrell in the 5, moving underneath Bernard Person. Move the 5 up to 5th. As he has jumped up back to his original starting position, Bernard Person drops down. And now all that battling has allowed Dean Doucette to catch back up. Chris, we saw in the beginning of the race, he was very good. He was actually catching Jeff Chandler, but he just had a really terrible restart. Couldn't get that 29 car going. He dropped from 2nd all the way back to 8th. He's just now moved his way back to 7th position. That 29 car just doesn't look quite the same as it did that first run.
No, it doesn't. It was a little bit because he got loose on the very start here, or the restart here, and because of that, it put him further back into traffic, and that car just did not handle well when he was around a lot of cars, and I think that's kind of why we saw him drop back like he did. Now that he's kind of got no one in front of him and no one behind him by a little bit, he's able to gather it back up, fill the car out, and as soon as I say that, he gets a little bit loose coming out of the corner.
But right now, the battle is all up in front of him. Torgerson and Tim Bills. We got Brody Hanna looking on the inside. He's not going to make that move right now, though.
He's not going to make that move, but you saw exactly what it did to the 5 of Bobby Terrell. As he's going to get the run. Now he's going to do a crossover. He's going to look low on Hanna.
So Brody Hanna trying to make a move on Tim Bills. It's going to backfire, and now Bobby Terrell in the 5 machine is going to move underneath Brody Hanna, and Bernard Person's going to try to fill that gap. And Dean Doucette is also caught to the back of this pack. We got a big old battle for 2nd place.
We certainly do, and you could see that 5 car wants to wash up to the track. That's where he's going to be able to get the most momentum. Not able to do it. Brody Hanna's looking strong on the outside.
The 23 car planted there. Bernard Persson says, hey, you know what? I'm going to move to the outside. Oh, almost some contact between the 5 and the 23. They've had a little bit of history. I don't think too negative history, but they have had some. Brody Hanna's going to persevere on the outside. Bernard Persson says, you know what? I'm going to slide up there. But Dean Doucette slides underneath of him, and actually it looks like, oh, Bobby Terrell's coming back at Brody.
He certainly
Oh,
is.
and he gets loose.
Oh, man.
He gets loose. I don't think there was contact there, but that transition, Chris, it just got him in a bad spot. He still can't get that thing going up the track.
No, he can't, and I believe he's going to end up with a penalty because he did clip that cone coming off of pit road. He's going to end up with a penalty for unsafe entrance.
Let's see if we can see if there was contact, Chris, between those two drivers, but I don't think that there was. And caution is out. And that is Brody Hanna that's wrecked. Brody Hanna has wrecked off the turn. And now I do wonder if there was contact between those two drivers. So let's take a look at the yellow flag first.
Ooh, Brody Hanna had some help.
So Dean Doucette is behind him. And he gets he's starting to get a little bit loose, and looks like the 29 may have just finished him off. Not much that the 29 could do there, but Brody Hanna loose. No damage on that 23, but man, we had some tough action right there, Chris, and I want to take a look back and just see if anything happened with Bobby Terrell and Brody Hanna. Don't think there was, but we definitely want to see what happened to Bobby Terrell on that low side. He's underneath Brody Hanna coming down the front straightaway. He gets up on that banking, Chris, and that banking, I had that same experience. And he did clip that cone, but I don't think it was bad enough to get a penalty. What may introduce a penalty is him coming back up on the track there. He almost took out his teammate right there, Wayne Grossi, but that was very close for the 5 car. And unsafe exit would be what I would be concerned about there, but I don't think he got a penalty. But the two drivers involved, Chris, both now getting a little bit of action going on. So everybody heading on pit road.
It definitely looked like the 5 when he just caught that apron a little bit too hard. That's what caused that little spin, and he's actually the one that's going to get the lucky break from this caution as he was dropping spots crazily, and because of the caution, he's not going to be at the complete end of the lead lap.
And our lucky dog is going to be Jeff Winter. So Jeff Winter, who somehow got trapped a lap down, is going to get that 30 car back on the lead lap, which is great news for him. I don't know. He might have missed the start as well and ended up losing a lap there. But now the 30 car back on the lead lap, he's going to be able to get that lucky dog, get some service done. We look at the pits, and Jeff Chandler easily winning off. Torgerson second, Bill's third, Dean Doucette fourth, Bernard Persson, Rachel Hunt. This time, our big gainer on pit road. She moves to 6th position. Grossi, Williford, Watts, and Benedict, your top 10.
Yeah, great pit stop by these guys. And Jared, it's lap 51. The strategy completely changed again.
And we talk about that again. So we predicted these guys would pit on around lap 50, make it a 2-stop race. Now, we thought maybe they could stretch it to a 1-stopper with the previous caution, and now we're pretty much back in the 2-stop realm again with these guys pitting on lap 100. So everything's kind of shifted around again.
Yeah, it certainly has. This is going to make an interesting strategy call here because now if it ends up going green for another 50 laps, do you pit on lap 100, 102, or do you stretch it out as far as possible and hope that your tires will make up the difference at the end?
That's going to be something we'll have to see. Well, let's take a look at another incident that happened that did not bring out a caution. That was Donnie Stavitz. So the 99 machine is low on the track, and I don't know if there's an engine failure, but he is off pace, well off pace on the back straightaway. And when he comes in, oh yeah, that car must have blown up because he had to park it on the back straightaway there. So that is what happened to Donnie Stavitz. Not a wreck, blown engine for the 99 machine.
Tough night for that number 99. Not the way you want your race to go here.
Jeff Winter getting service. He is down the way, and something has happened to Wayne Grossi. Wayne Grossi, nothing has happened to him except that he got a penalty for too fast exiting pit road. He's going to drop to the end of the longest line, Chris.
Yeah, on our timing and scoring and showed that he crashed, but that was just because he went off of the racing surface and stopped. But that's it. A penalty. That's going to be hard to overcome through the rest of this race.
He was running in 7th position before those pit stops, and now he's all the way back in 33rd. He will move to 32nd ahead of Jeff Winter, the lucky dog, but not a great consolation. Brody Hanna's back here as well. He was in the top 3 most of this race, and he is 30th on the track right now. Ronnie Royal coming back in the pits, getting topped up on fuel, it looks like. But, Chris, now things are changing again. 53 laps in the books. We're going to get lap 54 when we start. Can somebody give this 31 a challenge? We have Torges on the outside, Tim Bills, his best restarting position so far. Can somebody do something with this 31 machine?
I think it's a matter of time before we see the 31 starting to fall off a little bit here, just because if we get a long green flag run, we saw some of the guys behind him have that speed that the 31 kind of seemed to be lacking, Jared.
That's true. Well, we thank everybody out there watching live on YouTube TV or on Facebook. Definitely give us a thumbs up, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. We appreciate all the viewers here on Full Throttle TV as we are approaching just past a third of the race done here in Nashville for the inaugural Nashville 200. The pace car pulls off after the second caution. Jeff Winter and Troy Torgerson will lead them down to get this thing restarted.
Green, green, green.
And green flag is back out, and a much better restart on the outside from Torgerson this time. He's going to stay with Chandler, and now Tim Bills is going to look underneath.
He certainly is, but man, Jeff Chandler is still able to get a good start there. He's already 0.3 of a lap quicker than these guys are already going into the backstretch.
Gained 0.3 there. Dean Doucette, another bad restart. Bernard Purse is going to get around him. Troy Torgerson trying to hold off Tim Bills. That's a battle for second place. Tim Bills can sniff the front of this pack, and he won a couple races ago. It wasn't at Charlotte. Apologies. That was Greg Holt that won at Charlotte. He won at Dover, a track that was very similar to this Nashville Superspeedway in terms of characteristics, and he is looking like that 77 car brought some of that Dover magic as he is still working with Troy Torgerson, but Torgerson holding strong on the outside.
He certainly is, and you know the person that's loving this is Jeff Chandler as he's pulling away from these guys as they're running side by side. The 77 just can't clear the 98, but it looks like he's going to get a little bit better run here. They're going to go way up high, and wow, they're still side by side.
The only other driver side by side is Griffith. He is next to Richie Coy back in 13th. Everybody else has gotten single file behind him. Bill still fighting. He might clear Torgerson. He does clear Torgerson. Torgerson just a little bit loose up the track. And now Tim Bills into second.
And right behind them, Bernard Person is going to get underneath the number 98 machine and try his best to follow Tim Bills up into third.
The defending champion, what would he need to do to get a win on his belt this season? He needs one badly. He wants one badly. And Bernard Person there, but Troy Torgerson with a power move on the outside, and he is going to stay in front of the 8 machine, at least for right now, but the 8 machine powering back on the inside.
Very close racing between these two here, and you can see it. Troy Torgerson's doing everything he can to pinch Bernard Person down on the apron in the corners. Still not working, though, as they're still side by side in 3 and 4.
And behind them, Dean Doucette gives up the bottom, and that allows Sher Williford and Rachel Hunt to move around. And now Torgerson still battling. He's got some no help on the outside, but his teammate Bill Benedict is also moving up into 8th position. So we got some drivers, some movers and shakers. Torgerson tried to close back in on Bernard Person, but got another run on him.
He certainly did.
Oh, somebody's on the bottom of the track. Oh, that's a lap car. Apologies.
It looked like the 8 machine actually got into the 98 machine there in the corner, sent the 98 up, and Sherwood Williford's going to take the spot.
Dean Doucette hard on the brakes. That car, I don't know what happened to him, but he is down on pit road. I do not know what happened to Dean Doucette, but he is headed to pit road, Chris, and somebody else is on pit road. Josh Mayhew. No, that's not Josh Mayhew. I don't know who that is. Jeff Bratton. Apologies. That is Jeff Bratton that is coming on pit road. He is 33 laps down, getting that damage repaired from an early incident. But I don't know what happened to Dean Doucette. I don't see anything that would happen to cause him. Maybe he got a penalty, but my goodness, that would be a really bad situation for him as Jeff Chandler continuing to work. Now it's Tim Bills chasing him down.
Wow, that was an incredible entry to pit road there for Dean Doucette. But man, what a great job by the drivers behind him just to avoid running into the back of him there.
We're looking and we just don't see anything that could have happened to the 29 machine other than a potential penalty, but I don't know what that penalty would have been for the 29 machine. But we'll have to see if we can figure that out. But right now, it is Tim Bills now chasing down Jeff Chandler. Person and Sher Williford up into the top 5. He gets around Troy Torgerson, who's now got Rachel Hunt in the 16 breathing down his neck.
Yeah, the 98 seems to not have the speed here in this run that he had earlier, and that's paving the way for some of these other guys to get up here like Person, Williford, and Rachel Hunt.
And you look back, even further back, that's Bill Benedict, Torgerson's teammate. He's been moving forward. He gets underneath of Watts, and he is going to move to 7th. Now Watts trying the undercut. He's got his teammate, Bobby Terrell, who was involved in that skirmish earlier, if you will. He just got on that apron and got loose. Now Bobby Terrell trying to make his way back to the front of this field, and he is in 9th place. Make that 8th place now. Another driver.
Trying to
Go ahead.
make his way back up to the field. He is up to, I believe it was 5th at one point, falling back. That is Terrell in that number 5 car. That back 3 spots, but still looking pretty strong.
Yeah, and the other driver in this mix is Richie Coy. Now, he got an EOL for a penalty last week at Sonoma. So he had to start at the very end of this field, and he has moved himself up into the top 10 in 9th place. He is working underneath Bill Benedict, so moved the 19 of Richie Coy up into 9th place. So great recovery for that number 19 team, getting that car back into the top 10. Benedict continuing to slide back. Jason Speer is there as well. Behind them, there's a little bit of a checkup. Brian Helm almost gets in the back of Jason Martin. That's going to open the door for Chad Lang to look underneath.
Yeah, you're talking about Richie Coy starting in the back and working his way up. That's a famous short track challenge for, it's called a fan challenge at Bowman Gray, where a driver can start in the rear and make their way up. And if they finish in the top 4, there's an additional money prize. So Richie Coy kind of taking it back to old school street stock racing.
Richie Coy, a racer by trade in real life, racing some sprint car, basically sprint machines in the Northeast. Other driver looking at Chris here, Brody Hanna, up from 15 spots from this restart. He was back in 33rd position to start this thing off. He's made it up to 18th. He's got Greg Holt in front of him. Greg Holt, if he had damage, has got that thing repaired completely because he's looking a little bit more competitive this run.
He certainly is, and Hanna is really doing a good job of making his way back up through the field slowly and at his own terms, though, Jared. Not wasting his stuff up this early on, too. So really able to maintain that 23 machine.
Jason Martin having a good run, up 8 spots. He has fallen TJ Bartel, who's up 17 spots. And shockingly enough, besides Wayne Grossi, who had that penalty, he is the lowest running Wayne Grossi Racing driver right now on the track, besides Wayne Grossi, who is moving back forward after his penalty. But that Wayne Grossi group has got a great package for this track, with Watson 8th, Terrell in 7th, Terrell and Bartel in 12th, and Wayne Grossi now in 20th after that black flag he got. Look at
And
some
Jared, up front, it is a little bit single file here, where almost everyone's separated by about 2 to 4 tenths of a second, if not more, and they're just kind of biding their time. The closest people together are going to be Tim Bills and Bernard Person, first or second and third, and even them, they're still 4 tenths off from one another.
Terrell and Watts have cleared that gaggle of traffic, but there is a big bunch up with Bill Benedict and Jason Speer leading that group. That is a battle for 10th position, as Jason Speer in the 83 going to move underneath that. This is a massive run for Jason Speer, who is known for his restrictor plate racing, is known for the tracks like Texas and those type of tracks. You come to these concrete tracks, and he has not had the best record at Dover. That's all we have to go by. But he is looking very good as he gets the move done and put the number 83 back in the top 10. Bartel's going to follow him. Jason Martin and Brian Helm are also in this battle as well.
And it is some tough racing here. TJ Bartel almost sideways in the middle of the corner trying to get the run on Bill Benedict.
Bill Benedict just doing everything he can on that outside groove. And you look, Chad Lang looking on the outside. That's brought Brody Hanna up into this battle as well. So this, as you get to a driver that's kind of a little bit slower and it's hard to pass here. Oh, we got a wreck.
All right, man. Caution is out. Caution is out.
I think it's Greg Holt hard in the fence, and I don't know who got into him, but that's a hard impact.
It certainly was, and I believe that was going to be Brody Hanna in that 23.
So let's take a look and see. We just saw at the top of our screen. So this battle just getting really intense in front of him, and it's causing some drivers behind him to kind of check up. So we got Chad Lang way up the track, and gets a little bit loose there. Let's take another look at that. That's not a very good angle. Jump on board Brody Hanna here. And, Brody Hanna gets loose. I hear the wheel spin, and I think he got loose, and that car just hooked right into Greg Holt. And that is a tough, tough situation as Greg Holt, heavy impact to the wall.
Yeah, it looks like just a racing incident. No one there meant to get into anyone else, but man, what a tough, tough hit for Greg Holt in that 32 bunch.
And he was making his way back to the front. But that's going to bring everybody on pit road again. This does work out for Dean Doucette, though, because he is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, the lucky dog. Yes, he is going to be the lucky dog. So the 29 machine going to go ahead and wrap his way around. So he had to pit under caution because of a penalty. And now he is going to have he's going to get that lap back, get back on lead lap, just like Jeff Winter did last time. Status quo on pits. Jeff Chandler wins the race off. Tim Bills, Bernard Person, Williford, Torgerson, Hunt, Terrell, Watts, Coy, and Jason Speer, your top 10. Nothing changed in that group.
For the first time all night, the running order did not change for the top 10 in the pits. So great job by all those drivers of getting in and out cleanly.
And these cautions have kind of come at interesting times. They've all come at almost 25 lap intervals tonight, Chris. We had a caution on lap 23, a caution on lap 50, and now a caution on lap 71. If I was a driver out there, I know this league, a lot of green flag runs, and three cautions is not very many by any means, but I'm just surprised somebody didn't gamble on staying out and maybe just hoping for another caution.
Yeah, it definitely is a interesting thing going on. It looks like we do have one car, the 96 car of Andrew Politsky, that's going to take the wave around here, trying to get one of the laps down that he is back. We talked about it. The strategy here was going to be a little bit different, and if we could get a long green flag run. Well, the problem is, Jared, we don't seem to be getting them tonight.
Yeah, it's just about 25 laps is what we're at as far as the green flag run goes here tonight, and it's just been interesting because it's just a difficult place to pass, and I think that's what's causing some of the issues. But right now, you look at the board, and Politsky will get one of those laps back, and that's going to be crucial for him because he's trying to pass Gil Gach, who is retired from the race. We got a couple drivers out of the race. Jeff Bratton is back on the track. But officially, Brandon Elder, who did not make the start, Donnie Staubitz, and also Gil Gach, all out of the race right now. And we think that Greg Holt probably will also call it quits as well.
All those positions matter as far as it comes to points. And that's why you see the 96 out here just trying to keep this car going around this track to make up valuable points on those around him.
And that's a great point, Chris, because, we focus on the playoffs, we focus on all these other things, but the top 25, you have to be in the top 25 with a win to qualify for the top 16 in the playoffs if you have a win. But on the other side of that, you also have the fact that there is a battle for the top 25 to make sure you're guaranteed a spot in the field. Andrew Politsky right now is sitting in 18th position. He does have a little bit of a gap. I mean, you're talking about 60 points over Steven Vrooman in 25th, but you don't want to leave any points on the table because you don't want to have to force yourself to qualify your way in, especially when we go next year at Daytona, where there's definitely going to be a lot of people out there, and you just don't want to have that situation.
Not at all. I mean, this league has proven to be a very difficult league. and all these guys are doing whatever they can to maintain that guaranteed starting spot, Jared. This matters a lot to these guys because if you're not guaranteed a spot, if you have one bad week, you can drop quickly in points.
Exactly right. So we're going to re-rack them again here on lap 73. It's going to be Chandler and Bills. It's status quo from our last restart, actually, except move Williford above Torgerson. Can Rachel Hunt, can Bobby Terrell get back up in the front or move to the front for the first time in this race? We'll see what happens on this restart. Pace car pulls off, and we're about ready to get going here in Nashville again.
Jeff Chandler's had a great start every restart tonight. Will he have one here tonight as he gets the green flag? Yes, he's going to easily clear the Tim Bills before we even get out of the tri-oval, Jared.
And Tim Bills, Chris, I was watching there. I think he might have spun the tires in that number 77 car. That's going to open the door for Bernard Person, our defending Cup Series champion. He's going to move ahead, try to move ahead of Tim Bills down the back straightaway.
Tim Bills isn't going to make it easy as he's able to gain the momentum on the high side. Looks like he's going to take that position back on the outside going into the 4.
Cars are all boxing in back here. Box, box, box is what they're doing. We got some battling there. Sure, Williford closing down the gap on Bobby Terrell as we look from the wall cameras, and there is so much action around this track. It's unreal right now, Chris. These restarts are crazy.
It certainly is, as we got side by side by side by side by side action from Bobby Terrell in the 5 car in 6th on back to 12th.
And Rachel Hunt trying to hold off that number 5 machine. She wants a great run. She's not had a lot of runs to write home about. She's right. Oh, we got some contact.
Right,
yes, we do.
him.
Bill Benedict
is involved.
All right, man. Caution is out. Caution is out.
And he's over the upside down. Ronnie Royal involved. Josh Mayu involved. And there was another car that came down the track. And there was a massive accident back there. Let's see what happened here. But Bill Benedict flying through the air. So here we go. So he's got Jason Speer on the outside, Jason Martin right behind him. And he gets loose off the corner. Gets loose. Oh, he gets loose. And Jason Martin comes up the track. And when he comes up the track, he makes contact with somebody. Everybody's good. And then the seas parted and Ronnie Royal flat into the back of Bill Benedict. And I don't know if Ronnie Royal saw him sitting there or not, but my goodness, that was a heavy impact for the 24.
It certainly was, and man, so much that happened there. There was so many different wrecks that were going on. Just wow, an incredible, incredible moment for a lot of guys. A lot of guys having to go off track just to avoid this one, Jared.
And we jump on board Ronnie Royal in that number 24 machine. You see it up there ahead. There's a car backwards in the grass. Then Bill Benedict comes up the track. And yeah, he just didn't slow down and just ran into the back of Bill Benedict. Unfortunate. Clips Josh Mayu as well. So heavy impact for the 24 machine. I think he thought that the wreck was good and everybody was going straight. And unfortunately, that was not the case.
Not at all. And with these heavy stock cars, it's hard to move very quickly to get around people. And I think that's a little bit of what we saw there with the 24. Just really hard to get around a car that's pretty much stopped as Bill Benedict was there. So a real tough moment for the 24 gang, but even tougher for Bill Benedict as he got ejected from the racetrack.
Do have some takers on pit road. McMullen, Griffith, Winter, and Lang all pitted. Lang might have had some damage to repair. Mayu had some damage to repair. But McMullen and Griffith, interesting strategy, Chris. They took fuel only, along with Brody Hanna, along with Dean Doucette, who also just came off pit road. So we have 4 drivers, Winter, Griffith, Doucette, and McMullen, that all took just fuel.
Yeah, they're looking at doing a much quicker stop at the end here. I would believe, Jared, maybe possibly going with 2 tires to finish this race out here at the end.
Well, now, Chris, I think this caution is going to change some of the things around because we're on lap 80. We know they can do 65 laps. Are these drivers that are topping off, are they thinking that they could save enough gas to make it from here on? Because it is faster if you don't have to come down pit road for a second time.
It certainly is. That's about 35 to 40 seconds that you're not going to lose on pit road. Certainly worth a shot if you're outside of the top 25 in points. Or maybe if you're looking to strategize and get a really good finish here tonight, maybe even get your first win.
Well, Dean Doucette has a win. So I like the gamble for the 29 machine because he's got the win. He's not going to fall outside the top 25 in points. He might not even fall the top 16 in points. That is a massive strategy play. If this race goes green, we have 70 laps to go at this time. We're going to get the green flag back around laps with 69 or so to go. I like the call. Try to save the gas. See if you can do it. If you can't do it, you can bail on the strategy. But if you can do it, you might be able to pick up a massive amount of points here tonight.
Well, and that's something that you mentioned right there. You don't have to live with the strategy. You can bail on the strategy if you get cold feet later on in this run, in this race. I mean, and so there's nothing here holding you to that. Just because you went down pit road now doesn't mean anything, Jared.
Exactly right, and we will see what happens. We haven't been able to get that green flag going, but this has been a solid race for an inaugural event here at Nashville Superspeedway. I kind of expected a lot more attrition, but now that we're 70 laps to go, maybe the attrition is going to ratchet up, but we'll see. As you see, the Blackwater Steve Berry group, that's the group that is making this call to come down pit road. So Mayhew and McMullen coming back in to top off, along with Dean Doucette. Jeff Winter also on pit road, and Chad Lang going to follow him in as well. All these drivers, they're just topping up 4 or 5 second pit stops here for each of these drivers.
And actually looking through the field, Rachel Hunt's doing what she can to preserve fuel till she was turning the car off and rolling on the apron here, Jared, just as a way to save fuel here. These guys, I think there's a few of them that are going to try to do whatever they can to make either no stop or as few seconds on pit road as possible.
Yeah, and one more caution here in the next 15 to 20 laps would pretty much negate that strategy. If we have a caution after lap 100, that strategy is blown. But anything before lap 100, and it's going to be a tough gamble on what you want to do as we're watching these drivers come off pit road. We got Jeff Chandler and Tim Bills up front. Tim Bills was able to persevere with Bernard Person during that melee behind him, but you got some thirsty drivers in the top 5. Person and Williford yet to win a race this year, and they're sniffing the front of this field here at Nashville Superspeedway as the pace car is going to make the left-hand turn to pit road.
Bills is going to have to do a little bit better of a restart here as Jeff Chandler jumps off again and all the way down on the apron, Jared, trying to get away from this pack.
And he didn't make a good restart. Tim Bills didn't. Spun the tires again, and Tim Bills is really going to lose this spot this time to Bernard Person. No question about it, as Person clears Bills into turn number 2, and now he's going to have to battle with Troy Torgerson for 3rd.
He certainly is, and Torgerson's going to do everything he can. These positions matter so much, and we've seen them battle all night long. These two near one another, side by side, and this whole field basically side by side.
Mike
here
Watts,
at this restart.
Yeah, Mike Watts getting around the outside of Rachel Hunt, and now it's going to be interesting to see, as we're going to be able to tell in the lap times if we have some saviors out there, but we'll have to wait a little bit to see if anybody is going to start playing that strategy, as they're pretty much already getting single file, Chris, as Bobby Terrell passed Sherwood Williford, and Williford gets back by him rather easily on the outside, and now the two teammates of Terrell and Watts battling side by side for 6th place. Man,
and those two got about as close as they possibly could to one another coming out of the corner there, Jerry. It looked like we were about to have another caution.
Yeah, and the last person you want to have a caution with is your teammate. That makes for a very long, I guess, Tuesday meeting in this case. But Bobby Terrell doing a great job right now, trying to rebound after spinning out after coming up the apron there. And this transition at this track is something we didn't talk about a lot. It's very rough. And we've seen some drivers get on the apron in the turns and cause some incidents. Steven Vroom in the first one that did that. They brought the first caution of the night. But now this group seems to be settling in just a little bit. I think there is a lot more fuel conserving than we think that's going on, Chris.
I certainly think that's certainly an option. Man, Rachel Hunt had to get out of it coming off the corner there, and now she's going to have Richie Coy underneath her.
Coy coming from the very back of the field. He is up into 9th place. This could be a big points night. He is 3rd in points, and Casey McMullen well off the back here right now, so he can get some vital points on Casey McMullen and maybe get some extra playoff points if he's able to hold that position on. But the two forwards of Hunt and Coy battling right now side by side. That's allowing Terrell and Watts to check out. Speaking of the devil, Wayne Grossi back in the top 10. or almost in the top 10. He is on the back of this battle as well. Brian Helm, also, who missed the start, he's in 10th place. So we have some drivers that were at the very back of this field tonight, Chris, that have found their way to the top 10.
Certainly, these cautions have kept bunching us all back together here tonight, and that's kind of worked in some guys' favor, while it's not been too favorable for other drivers, as Grossi's able to get around Speer into 11th place.
We see that Jeff Winter. No, I apologize. That is Ronnie Royal that's coming out of pits. I thought that was Jeff Winter. No, it was Jeff Winter. Jeff Winter has come out of pits. I don't know what happened. Didn't see any penalties for Jeff Winter, but interesting. He has had to pit again, so under green flag, he's lost a lap, so we'll see what happens there. We look around some of the rest of this field, Chris, and you've got battles all over the track. The top three, nose to tail, or sorry, not the top three. The second through fourth are nose to tail right now.
They certainly are. The first battle on the track is going to be Rachel Hunt looking underneath Mike Watts going into 3. Looks like she's going to easily be able to take that spot coming out of the corner.
Watts trying to hold off Richie Coy now coming off the corner. He's got Brian Helm also tucking in behind Coy. So the 3 machine, he doesn't want to lose time, but now he's got a whole lineup, including Wayne Grossi, in this group as well. And Coy's going to clear him off the turn, so now put Richie Coy up into 8th place.
You said clear, and Richie Coy got loose, and that's going to put Watts right back on the outside. Still going to be able to clear him, looks like, going into 3.
Brian Helm also trying to tuck in there. Just doesn't have the run through the middle, as now he's barely going to get there. No, Watts is going to be able to duck down in front of the 26 machine. So Coy moves forward, Watts moves backwards, but both of them having a great night. And Brian Helm in 10th place. He's got Grossi, Jason Speer, and Ralph Nolan on the back bumper of them. So the top 13 kind of there. Jason Martin gets underneath Kenneth Schultz. We haven't talked a lot about Kenneth Schultz, but the 91 machine looking a little bit strong out here as this race continues on. So he's going to dive underneath Jason Martin into 3 and make that move. We got TJ Bartell right behind him, and Matt Geringer, another driver we haven't talked a lot about tonight. He is up into 17th. He started 25th. So Matt Geringer up inside the top 20 looking at a good run. Steven Fruman recovering from his early accident, and John Held in 19th, with Randall Ballard in 20th, hoping to make a comeback after starting in the top 10. He's been 20th pretty much all race, Chris, but the North Carolina driver is starting to move forward again.
Yeah, a lot of guys here being able to rebound their night here pretty nicely. And looking back through the top 20, there's a lot more people that have moved their way up into this field than back.
We check in on some of our gas savers back here. So Brody Hanna, we don't think he is saving gas. He could be. But Dean Doucette, we believe he is. Josh Mayu and Case McMullen all look to be saving gas. Also, Kevin Rupert might be saving gas in this group as well. That's the last car on the lead lap. 27 cars on the lead lap. But I think Rupert has some significant damage from an earlier incident causing him some speed. But up front, it's Jeff Chandler. He's got about 8/10 on Tim Bills, but Tim Bills slowly reeling him in.
Yeah, looking at the lap times, these two have been basically equal for the last couple of laps, only about 100th between them. But Bills a couple laps ago was about 2/10 quicker, but then was about a 2/10 slower the last 2 laps. So it's kind of a stalemate between these two up front.
So right now it's Chandler, Bills, Person, the only driver that hasn't won in that top 3. Then you have Torgerson and Williford in your top 5. Hunt gets underneath Coy, so move Rachel Hunt back into 7th place or not as Coy battles back on the inside. And Chris, you look at Rachel Hunt, it seems like her car kind of comes in as the race goes on. And this middle part of the run just kind of puts the car in a little bit of a negative position. But right now, the 16 trying to move back forward again.
Yeah, and actually she had lost that position to Coy, and Coy was able to take advantage of it. He's a little bit quicker than her the last couple of laps, but man, still a good night for Hunt as she's now under attack by Brian Helm.
Also under attack is Sure Williford. That's a battle for 5th. Bobby Terrell, 2 veterans of the league, going side by side here coming off turn number 4, and it looks like they're still going to be side by side, but Williford looks like he's going to concede that to Bobby Terrell as Terrell's going to duck in front of him.
Yeah, Terrell gets the advantage going into 1, and these two have been really battling back and forth to the last couple of laps. they were pretty dead even as far as time.
So now the top 6 kind of stabilized as now Bernard Persson has caught back up to Tim Bills in a battle for second, and they both pulled away from Troy Torgerson, who is in fourth.
And it's going to be a battle for second here within the next lap or two, as Persson is doing everything that he possibly can to get up here and challenge Bills for the second spot. He's wanting that first victory on the year. Our past season champion has really not had the year that he's been looking for, trying to make up for here tonight at Nashville.
Having a great run, one of his best runs of the season. He has only led 1 lap this year, Chris, and that was all the way back at Daytona, if you can believe that. He led 1 lap at Daytona and has not led a lap since. The 8 car definitely not having the season he's won. He's had 1 top 3 finish all year, and the 8 team would love to have another great run here tonight at the very minimum. But he's still 8th place in points, so he's not having a terrible year, but by Bernard Persson standards, you know he would definitely want a little bit better. As those two guys continuing to battle, they pulled ahead of Troy Torgerson. Bobby Terrell is catching that number 98 machine, and they have both pulled away from Sherwood Williford. The only battle on the track right now is looks a little bit further back. It's Rachel Hunt looking on, or Mike Watts getting by Rachel Hunt.
Yeah, Wayne Grossi's going to follow on the outside there and passing Hunt. Hunt just seems to be going the wrong way really quickly here. Now she's lost the spot to Grossi. Speer going to try to take the outside around her as well.
So, Chris, let me ask you this. 2 questions. One, did she make a bad adjustment, or is she, you saw her cutting off? You said you saw her cutting off the fuel, running on the apron. Is she moving backwards because the car is off, or is she moving backwards because she might be clutching a little bit in the corners?
Potentially, she could be doing it because she was trying to save fuel. When we talked about it, the strategy here is that these guys are going to try to make it on fuel from that point on, and that's going to be the only way to really secure that and make sure that you have enough fuel to the end, because she did not elect to pit like everyone else. So that might be the case for this number 16 machine. We'll have to keep an eye on her and looking at her speeds. Looking at the telemetry data, she's definitely clutching.
Yeah, she's definitely, you can hear it in the turns, she's definitely clutching, and her lap times are not very good. They are running, she's running 31 flats, where everybody else in front of her is running 31.8s or 31.9s a little bit. Didn't clutch that time, it didn't sound like, but the 16 machine, going to be interesting to see if she's going to save some gas. Looking further behind her is Kenneth Schultz in that number 91 machine. He has dropped 1 spot on the night. Then he's got TJ Bartel. That's your top 15. Geringer in 16th. Vrooman, John Held, Jason Martin, and Randall Ballard, your top 20. And some of these guys in this group, Chris, this is where I would start thinking about that fuel mileage, because the pit window is open. You can make 50 laps 100%. You're going to make it. And these guys that are doing this, just shy of the 65, I think that there's somebody in this group can gamble and make something happen tonight.
Yeah, I definitely think that someone is going to make it happen. It's going to be whether or not they can make it happen and actually end up with the checkered flag here tonight. Because at this point, Jeff Chandler is just walking away from the rest of this field. This is kind of his race to lose, Jared.
Right now, the only one matching, if you look at our let's bring up the last lap times here. If you look at that, Bobby Terrell is the only driver matching Jeff Chandler on pace. They're the only 2 drivers in the 31.8s. Everybody else has dropped in 31.9s or 31 flats. So that's where we're at. 2-second difference, as Jeff Chandler has led, I believe, every single lap so far in this race. He just put down a 7.8, Chris. And Bobby Terrell's also put down a 7.9. So that means those 2 drivers are the quickest drivers on the track. Terrell is closing in on this battle. He made quick work of Troy Torgerson. And Jason Martin has decided to call it in. He's bringing that number 9 machine in pit road. So the first driver to open up the floodgates of pitting is Jason Martin in the number 9 machine. He did not pit with everybody else. So the number 9 U.S. Army machine in the pits. And we'll now see what this can play out for him.
Yeah, it's definitely a strategy call for him to be able to get up here and be competitive. Now he's going to have to figure out how to work his way back up and even make up a lap here, Jared, because you're going to lose a lap on pit road.
Look at around some of these other battles. Bobby Terrell continuing to catch up to Bernard Persson, but the battle on the track right now is for 11th spot. Jason Speer hanging on the outside of Ralph Nolan, trying to hold off the number 95 machine. They've both gotten around Rachel Hunt. So drop Rachel Hunt to 13th, and Ralph Nolan still battling with Jason Speer. And these drivers that are battling hard like this, Chris, had they already made their bed thinking, we're going to have to pit or we're going to have another caution?
Well, at this point, I think a lot of guys are out here betting that we're going to have another caution. That's why you see that our top 10 did not pit in that last caution, even to top off, because they're expecting it. I mean, we haven't went more than 25 laps. We actually are about to clip that now. We've almost done 30 laps here, a little over 30 laps actually, Jared. So these guys are definitely ending up in a long green flag run here that a lot of guys probably weren't expecting.
And you look behind them, TJ Bartel pitted on lap 79, so he is one of those drivers. But he might have had damage based on that pit time. And then you look at Matt Geringer back there, Stephen Vrooman, Jeff Winter, he is a lap down, but he is making that car. He could be somebody to watch for. Jeff Bratton back on pit road to get some repairs or maybe get some fuel in that machine. But the guys I'm really looking at, Chris, are back here in 21st, basically 20th and on back. Chad Lang, Doucette, Griffith, Mayu, and Casey McMullen. All those drivers are on a definite fuel strategy, Chris.
They certainly are. And at this point, when do you go, Jared? I mean, you've got to at some point make the decision to start not saving fuel and trying to get your way back up through this pack, or do you just continue to ride around at your own pace and let the race come to you?
Yeah, I don't know. Casey McMullen has headed to pit road, and he must have hit the wall because that car has come to pit road, and he is sitting there for a while. So we'll have to see. I don't see anything that's happened on our screens, but Chris, you look at some of these other drivers. Dean Doucette, he was up in the top 5. He looked like the one guy that could challenge Jeff Chandler tonight, and he has just had nothing but bad luck since then.
Yeah, absolutely. Not the night that he was expecting. Terrell, meanwhile, has caught up to Person in that 8 machine, trying to do whatever he can to get up here and get around these guys because he's matching lap times of our leader. The problem is he's 3.5 seconds back.
And that's going to be the key is he's got to get around these guys and make quick work on them. He's actually, the lap times have slowed down for Terrell as he's gotten up in that dirty air, and it's kind of starting to hurt that number 5 machine. But we look at the track map here, and let's see where everybody is on the track right now. So our race leader, he's catching some lap traffic, 24th place. That's Kevin Rupert. We think he's down on power, though, but he's going to go a lap down, as well as 30th place Andrew Poliski, also with some damage, who hasn't pitted in a long time. Since lap 69, Poliski's just been trying to get back on the lead lap and hope for cautions. And right now it hasn't paid off quite the way he'd want to, but Chandler's going to catch some lap traffic here soon, Chris.
He certainly is. You mentioned the 96. The 96 actually took the wave around on that last caution, and he's all the way up against the wall trying to get out of our way of the leader.
Rupert also in the battle, not having the night he probably wanted here in his native race here with Jeff Chandler working underneath of him. So Jeff Chandler going to put him a lap down. That's going to leave us with 23 drivers on the lead lap, and 23rd place is coming across the line right now. So it kind of gives you an idea of how far behind Josh Mayu is. And now, Chris, you think about these guys saving fuels. We have some drivers. Bill Benedict has left pit lane. Vrooman has called it into pit road. He is down and away, so he has decided he cannot stretch the fuel, and he has made his pit stop. For these drivers back here, Chris, they're on the fringes of maybe 5-10 seconds of being allowed down, like Josh Mayu, when do you call it on this strategy? Because you don't want to lose that much time.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see when they're going to actually make that call. But, man, up front, even while passing those lap cars, Jeff Chandler was faster than anyone on the track.
Yeah, he did a 31.29 that last lap. Now it's updated to a 39.5 as he's gotten through all the traffic. We look at some of the battling going on, and you see Bill Benedict has come out in the track. That car missing the rear clip. Bobby Terrell is going to get it around him. That is 4th place right now for Bobby Terrell. He has not been able to make that progress, Chris. Once he caught Bunner Person and Tim Bills, that car, it stalled out.
It certainly did, and you mentioned the dirty air, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing here. Maybe he can use Bill Benedict as he has those fresher tires, even with that damage, to see if he can pull up closer to these guys again. But it's going to be interesting to see because they're really running about the same lap times, these three right here, Bills, Person, and Terrell.
Yeah, we bring up the lap time chart, and you see 31.19 for Bills, 2.8 for Person, 4.3 for Terrell. Williford checking back in with a 2.7. Actually, Brian Helm was the fastest driver on the track. He is in 6th place. He's just now gotten around Richie Coy. Troy Torgeson's in. So now we have some drivers in this lead group that did not pit on the last caution. They are making their call. They got to come in.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult call to make if you're up in this top 5 when you're going to decide to pit. But Terrell has decided that it's worth it to go on and go, or sorry, Torgerson has decided it's already beneficial to come now. But, it's going to be hard to make that call. Do you stay out as long as possible and ride out whatever fuel you have, hope that you catch a caution and not lose any track position? Or do you come in early and try to use those tires up to make up the time?
Mike Watts is down. Rachel Hunt is down. She has abandoned that strategy. So if she was saving fuel, it's over now for the 16 machine. She is down on pit road. So now the floodgates are open. Jason Martin was the first one on lap 101. Mike Watts is in the pits. Gary Griffith in the pits. And now the floodgates are open. Now my question comes back to Dean Doucette, Chad Lang, and Josh Mayhew. Have they saved enough? They needed about 4 laps. That's a lot of fuel, but it can be done.
It can be done, but it's going to be hard to be out here with guys on fresher tires running past you while you're trying to save. Certainly makes things a little bit more difficult if you're on that strategy, especially because as a race car driver, you don't want to be slow on the track. You want to be as fast as possible. That's going to make those guys itching to go faster than they really can on the tires and fuel that they have.
Richie Coy and Brian Helm have come in. Bernard Person, Terrell, and Williford all on pit road. So our top group has started to pit, Chris, and now we're really going to figure out what this race has with 30 laps to go.
Now, if you're our leader who likes to come to pit road this time, Jared.
Wow, that's an aggressive entry. He's going to get it down, slow down, I think, in time. Tim Bills is going to follow him through. Will Wayne Grossi stay out and try to get this bonus point? Yes, it looks like he will. Kenneth Schultz is going to come in from 6th. So these guys, we got some different strategies. I like the idea of staying out because the overcut on oval seems to work the best. The undercut works the best on road courses, but right now we have all kinds of different strategies. That's going to turn the lead over to the number 7 machine with Ralph Nolan hot on his trail, about a second behind.
And we know that Wayne Grossi is either going to have to pit or stay out as long as possible, and he's coming to pit this time.
Got a lot of guys.
The lead over to Ralph Nolan Jr. as he's going to lead the lap, and Jason Speer, TJ Bartel behind him. But Wayne Grossi deciding to pit right now.
Wayne Grossi in, Ralph Nolan in. We got Doyle Lawrence. He is rooting on several drivers, looking like Jeff Winter and Jeff Chandler and Rachel Hunt. He's checking in on those guys. And then we also got Joe Flanagan out rooting on the Fury Motorsports guys, and Stephen Loomis out there rooting on the Blackwater Chevy teams and the racing, watching all the racing that's been going on in this race. We got a lot of stuff going on over on our Facebook chat. Join in on the conversation. But right now, Ralph Nolan continues to stay out. Jason Speer is there. TJ Bartel is there. Matt Geringer has abandoned ship. He has come in pits. So that leaves 8 drivers that have not pitted yet, Chris. You look at some of these other drivers here. Ralph Nolan now abandoned the lead. He is going to head in. But now look, Chris, you got Troy Torgerson, Bernard Person. They're all over the back of Jason Speer. That's what you were talking about. You had those older tires, and now you're kind of in a bad position because you can't get out of the way of anybody.
You certainly can't, and these guys are racing for position, so they're going to be racing as hard as they possibly can to one another. And Hannah Terrell right there, this is just a melee of cars around our leader, and at the same time, TJ Bartel is right there behind Jason. TJ
Bartel is there. Randall Ballard is there. We don't think Jason Speer can make it on gas, but TJ Bartel is on the fringes, so is Randall Ballard. Dean Doucette also there. Chad Lang also there. All those guys we think are right on the cusp of making it, but TJ Bartel would love to get a lap led here. Richie Coy working underneath of him as well. He has just got his pits, but right now, you look at this, Jeff Chandler's all the way back in 8th spot, but he is only, if I'm looking at this correctly, only 5 seconds behind Josh Mayhew. and only 20 seconds behind Jason Speer. And 25 laps to go, Chris. I think even the one-stop strategy, Jeff Chandler could still win this race.
I think you're right. Just looking at the times from the last couple laps here after Chandler got on the track, he's definitely fast as can be. And if you're TJ Bartel, who just goes around Jason Speer, you're taking a look at that every single lap.
And this is unbelievable what's going on here now. A lot of guys watching out there in the chat. Appreciate you having along for the ride here tonight as things are starting to heat up here. TJ Bartel has gotten around Jason Speer, so the 88 machine with 25 laps to go, leading his first laps of the year. And he's won races before, but he has just joined part-time. We do have some drivers on pit road. Jason Martin on pit road with some damage. Looks like he may have gotten the wall, but right now we're focusing on the leader. That's TJ Bartel. All those drivers passing on the inside are drivers on fresher tires. Jason Speer, that red car, fourth in line there, or third in line on the outside now, is his battle. And then 6 seconds behind them is Randall Ballard and Dean Doucette, who are trying to stretch this thing out. But Chris, Jeff Chandler continues to eke this thing forward. But getting there and passing are two different things, even with old tires.
It certainly is. I mean, looking at the lap time, TJ Bartel is running a 31.8, whereas Chandler's running a 29 flat. And that was actually kind of a slow lap for Chandler. So it's one of those things that you can see that these guys are running as hard as they possibly can. At least Chandler is, to trying to get back up here. But it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, and this is unbelievable. Wow, we had 3 wide right here in front of the leader. And even though you're on older tires, you don't want to see 3 wide in front of you if you're the race leader at any time. And there was that was a gaggle indeed right through there. TJ Bartel is going to be able to string through that. Jason Speer in second. And you look on our timing and scoring, Jeff Chandler now 12.8 and counting down to the race leaders with 23 laps to go. Can somebody steal this thing from Jeff Chandler? I don't think so, Chris, but they're going to make a whole heck of a gamble on it.
They certainly are making a gamble, and I would assume, just looking at the lap times, not only can Jeff Chandler get up to TJ Bartel, but he's going to get up to TJ Bartel and still win by 5 seconds over TJ. So it's going to be a rough race, especially because at this point, TJ still can't get a clean racetrack to just get laps here. So his times are not showing good at all for him. But once again, he's got people passing him left and right. It's kind of hard to run your race when you're having to watch everyone else.
Well, I love the call by TJ Bartel. He missed the first 5 races. He didn't run in the Cup Series until later in the season. So he is probably not going to get in the top 25, and I would almost 100% guarantee he's not going to get in the top 16. But if he grabs a win, all of a sudden things look a little bit different for him. And why not gamble? What do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose between finishing first or finishing last. You're the only thing you're losing is some points that you're 100 points behind 25th as it is. This is a great gamble for the 88. Jason Speer has a win in the bank. This is a great gamble for him. Randall Ballard, another driver in the same as TJ Bartel, runs part-time in Cup. Nothing to lose. But I'll tell you, a guy that had something to lose is Dean Doucette, and guess who's right behind him? Jeff Chandler. And Chandler makes quick work.
And Jeff Chandler said, relook, I just passed him. Jeff Chandler is making his way back up, now up to 4th position, only 8 seconds off of our leader.
Randall Ballard is going to be next, and it's probably going to be maybe a lap, or at most 2 laps before Jeff Chandler is going to be passing Randall Ballard to get back up at least on the podium. He has a 6.83 second lead currently on Bernard Persson, who is the only other, pretty much the driver he's quote-unquote racing. I don't want to say he's racing just Bernard Persson. He's racing all these drivers. And there he goes around Randall Ballard. So move Chandler back to 3rd place. 7 seconds behind TJ Bartel. 5 seconds behind Jason Speer. 18 laps to go. And he is now 7 seconds ahead of Bernard Persson, who is de facto second on the track right now.
Well, and you mentioned that he is up to 7 seconds behind our leader. He's made up an entire second in 1 lap, even while passing Ballard.
That we had some guys in the chat talking about Jeff Chandler's paint scheme. That is a beautiful paint scheme. I love that paint. I like the reflectiveness of it, and his all-star car, if he was able to make it, was also really good looking as well. Checking back up front, TJ Bartel starting to put down some respectable laps Still about a second slower than Jeff Chandler. But a second slower isn't, it could be worse. Jason Speer has fallen well off the back here, and he is going to be caught probably within a lap or two by the 31 machine. And if TJ Bartel can find an opening somewhere in this race, I don't think this is completely done for the 88 machine.
Not at all. I mean, at this point, you've kind of committed yourself to this. But even still, TJ Bartel could still come away with a second or a third place finish here tonight.
And that's huge. That would be huge. But TJ Bartel, as we talked about before, he is 45th in points, and he is currently sitting, just doing some quick math, 156 behind 25th. So he would need a lot of points to catch 25th, but a win would go a long way. Kevin Rupert has made his way to pit road with that damaged machine. He was not going to be able to make it on fuel there. But TJ Bartel just hanging and running methodically. This is what we see. At the same time that's going on, Jeff Chandler has passed Jason Speer and pulled away in no time over the 83. It's only 3 seconds now. I just don't think there's enough time for the 31 or the 88 machine. Is 31's held up by the 11, and there's the difference on tires. And Jeff Chandler got in the back of the 11.
Hopefully it won't be enough damage to actually hurt that number 31 machine, but these cars are very aero sensitive. That may actually slow him down a little bit, as we'll have to keep an eye on it for through the rest of these 14 laps, Jared.
Let's take a look at that front end. I mean, that thing, it's a little crinkled. I don't want to put a scare on anybody out there watching or cheering on Jeff Chandler. I don't think that's enough damage, but it depends on the amount of tape that car has. If he cranked up the tape, took less fuel, cranked up the tape, and you got some front end damage, that could be something we have to think about. But I don't think it's that bad. But I don't know. I couldn't exactly tell what was going on with the 11 of Matt Gehringer there, if Gehringer just didn't know he was coming, or if there was that much of a speed difference there, which it could have been a bit of both. But I was kind of surprised that Gehringer did not move up the racetrack and get out of the way of the 31 machine there. But maybe he just didn't see it coming. I'm not going to reserving all judgment. What's going on with Chandler? He's coming into pits, Chris. He's coming into the pits.
Yeah, he was starting to overheat, and you could actually see it on the time chart. He was not doing so good. He had only, the lap after the incident, he was about 0.6 faster than our leader, but the next lap, he was already overheating.
And this race has changed, and that is unbelievable. I am literally sitting here in shock that has happened to the 31 machine, who looked to be, he led every lap until these last round of pit stops, and now all of a sudden, TJ Bartel is in control of this race. But Chris, I don't know what to say right now about the 31 machine.
Yeah, not much to be said about it. That's just kind of a nightmare situation for that bunch, and you know that it's hard to pull off of the track when that happens. But you have to, Jared. If you don't come to pit road, you risk losing way more positions just because you can't finish the race.
And to add misery to that, I believe he will get an unsafe entry into pits. I don't think he was on the outside of the cone because he came through the grass. And man, that is tough break, because Jeff Chandler needs every win, every race he can get, because he, is missing every other race. So he needs all the points he can get when he can get them. And this race has just gone through his fingers. He's listed in 26th position right now. I'm trying to see if we can get a look on what happened with Matt Gehringer and Jeff Chandler. But
And
right now it's
interesting
TJ
enough,
Bartel.
Bernard Persson is actually he was the second one that had fresh tires in the line here, and he has now fell off tremendously. He lost almost 3/4 tenths in one lap. Almost, wow. He lost 3 seconds in a lap.
And you see, excuse me there. You see behind Bernard Persson, there is a large gaggle of traffic that includes Torgerson, Williford, Helm, and Ballard. And I think that maybe he just got held up there, as Bobby Terrell has actually gotten around him as far as the most recent pitters, and Tim Bills has gotten around him. So Tim Bills is 7 seconds behind TJ Bartel, and he's running about a half a second faster. So Tim Bills not quite on the same pace level as TJ Bartel. But man, now you look at this thing, Chris. Jason Speer hasn't pitted. TJ Bartel hasn't pitted. Can these guys make it, or are we still looking at somebody sneaking out with a win here tonight?
Yeah, I think that if anyone's going to be able to make it, it's going to be TJ Bartel in that number 88 machine. And what a night it will be if he's able to do so. I mean, really coming out of nowhere here to get this win.
Unbelievable race is what we've had here tonight. I wanted to go back, Chris, and see if we can't find, I think we found it now, Jeff Chandler looking here. So let's see here. Jeff, no, it's this lap here. So he has gotten around the 83 machine. No, he's already got the damage there. So let's see if we can look back a little bit further here as this race kind of going on. Here we go. So he's coming into turn number 1. Gehringer a little bit slow there. And Jeff Chandler is on the back of him. Nothing bad yet. Let's jump on board. Here we go into turn number 3 on the 26 or the 31 machine. And yeah, Gehringer just slows up, and Chandler just gets on the gas. It's not a whole. Oh, there's the contact. Gehringer just, I don't know what happened. He looked like I don't know. I don't want to say anything, but that did not look good. Maybe he got loose, is what I'll say. But that is not good for Jeff Chandler.
No, certainly not good for Chandler, and really ruined his night. Now you got Bills and Speer up here fighting for second, and Bills has the fresher tires. He's going to get around Speer here, but Speer didn't make it easy.
And Jason Speer still holding on to a potential podium. Now he has only got about 0.3 of a second, and he's still battling with Tim Bills. I mean, all this battling is actually helping TJ Bartel maybe just clinch this, put his hands into the victory lane, not claiming it, but the 4 machine is not getting any help from Gehringer in the 11 and Jeff Winter, who continue to battle back on him, and that's costing him some time.
It certainly has. At this point, Tim Bills will need to run about a second and 0.3 faster than our leader to be able to get up to the lead, and Speer may lose that podium spot as Terrell's underneath him.
So Jason Speer in the 83, but either way, if he can hold on to this, first off, he will have saved the most fuel. He pitted on lap 71, so he is unbelievable if he saves all this gas. I mean, my goodness, that is amazing if he doesn't run out of gas, because that's going to be, by my math, now there is some caution laps, that's going to be 79 laps that he's saved, which is about 15 more than they can normally go. There's about 4 laps of caution in there, and that's it. So Jason Speer doing an unbelievable job saving fuel if he is able to make it. 2 to go for TJ Bartel, though.
2 to go and 3.5 second lead over second place Tim Bills. This is going to be a kind of a steal for TJ Bartel. I don't want to give it to him quite yet, Jared, because anything can happen. But man, what an awesome run by Bartel.
He was fast in practice. He's got 1 career Cup Series win in iRacing. As the white flag comes out, that was all the way back in 2018 at Daytona. That's right, Daytona. 3 years ago, over 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, he is coming through turn number 1. We've seen this happen. I look back at Michigan in the Xfinity Series last summer, and that 88 machine ran out of gas coming into turn 4. Can he do enough to hold on to this victory? It's 2.5 seconds, so even if he runs out now, he should have enough time to make it to the start-finish line. TJ Bartel comes across comes across turn number 4, and I think he can coast from here, Chris. He's out of gas, and he's going to do it. TJ Bartel's going to grab the victory.
He certainly does. As he runs out of fuel coming to the checkered flag here, I ended up with a second faster than second place Tim Bills. But man, he did it when it counted there at the end, and he's getting a little bit of help turning this thing around. He's not going to make it to around the whole here.
I think somebody ran into him that didn't expect him to be out of gas. Yeah, that was Jason Speer giving him a little nudge on a big victory, and didn't realize he was out of gas. Holy cow, TJ Bartel comes out as the victor on a fuel mileage race. I think that you might be talking, Chris, to the most thrilled man in full throttle sim racing history out of the amount of times he's been undone by fuel mileage. Unbelievable, but I think we can't talk about this race, Chris, without talking about that number 31 machine and what happened with the number 11.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't. The 31 machine had this race in the bag. Give it to TJ Bartel. He did an amazing job finishing this race. But in reality, the 31 was there and going to pass him until that contact 100%. tough night for the 31 machine, and you know, that's kind of the issue we talked about. You have to get around all the people on the track, whether or not they're getting out of your way or not. And unfortunately, the 31 machine was not able to do that. TJ Bartel, he did it when he counted. On the next to last lap, with 2 laps to go, he ran the fastest lap that he had ran, and pretty much the entire little strategy that he had going on there, and was only 7 seconds or 7 tenths slower than Bills. Had he been 5 tenths slower, there would have been no way that he could have maintained that lead on that last lap.
Yeah, my goodness. I don't know what to say about this race. It had everything. A very long green flag run, 70 laps. And there's already some conversation going on between the 31 and 11. And, you know, the 31's definitely not going to be happy about that. And my goodness, I just feel bad for Jeff Chandler. But at the same time, as ABC Sports used to say back in the day, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat was on display here tonight at Nashville Superspeedway.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Jared.
All right, we are going to take a brief commercial break, and we are going to be back with our interview with our top 3 finishers here tonight. It may be top 4. I haven't decided yet. All right, we are back live here at Nashville Superspeedway, where TJ Bartel comes up on the positive side of a fuel mileage race, holding off Tim Bills in a race to the finish line that was, I don't know how you describe it, Chris, but Tim Bills was closing very quick, and Bobby Terrell was too.
He certainly was. Those guys did an amazing job trying to get their way back up through the field after that pit stop sequence, but not enough to get to TJ Bartel, who runs out of fuel coming to the line, Jared, and wins it by 1 second over Tim Bills.
Let's get into it, because we're going to hear from from a couple drivers here tonight, because we want to know about some fuel strategy. And the guy that finished 4th place tonight was Jason Speer in that number 83 machine. He saved, if I'm looking at this correctly, Jason, you saved around 79 laps of fuel. How in the heck did you do it, man?
Well, I really don't know. Just clutching it, and I wished I took it a little bit easier at the beginning of that run. Actually, I ran it pretty hard there for 10th, 11th position, and it run out right at the line. So uh, I wished I'd have saved a little bit more ahead of time, but we were kind of planning on pitting. Some of my teammates pitted, but I was like, well, I've kind of made my bed here. I need to just stick it out.
Well, I wanted to grab you because for two reasons. Number one, I mean, nobody came close to saving the amount of fuel you did, and I think that's insane because we've seen so many times where you've been bitten by fuel mileage and other drivers been bitten by fuel mileage. So amazing job for that. But you were a top 10 car all night tonight, and your Speer teammates, along with Bandit Racing, you look like you were very prepared for this Nashville Superspeedway.
Well, Jared, I tell you, we worked and worked and worked on the set. I know a lot of guys in here did, but man, we put our time in, and we thought we had something around Friday, Saturday, and then we kind of figured I run a couple officials, and I'm like, man, this thing just don't have the long run that we need. Unfortunately, we didn't need the long run tonight anyway until the end. But and then we started scrounging again, trying to find something that ran a little longer. And Brian and Bernie, they worked and worked on the set, and I made a couple of personal adjustments there, and it really was pretty fast, but it was hard to pass out there, really.
Yeah, we definitely saw that, Jason. Well, congratulations, man. And what a run for you. I know you're going to relish this. A great fourth place finish here tonight at Nashville Superspeedway. You already got that win, locking you in the playoffs, and that another top 5 run will definitely solidify your position. Are you looking forward to the next 9 races before the playoffs starts, or are you just ready for the playoffs to get here?
Well, I'm looking forward to the next races. We got a great group here, and this track was racy, very racy, and it had some character to the car, to the track. I know a lot of people probably didn't like it. It kind of favored me. I like to drive off the right rear a little bit myself, and but yeah, I'm looking forward to the playoffs. Glad I'm in it, and just thank my teammates for all the hard work we've done this week to get a finish like that.
All right, Jason. Well, congratulations again, man. I'm going to let you have the last word. And again, great run and great fuel mileage. I don't think I've seen somebody save 80 laps at a track before.
Well, I appreciate it, Jared. Really do. And I got a new sponsor on my car, DIY Wouldn't You? It's a friend of mine wanted to sponsor my car for the remainder of the races, and so I got him on there. I want to give him a shout out. And thanks to the league and my teammates, you guys. It's just a good place to be, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. Congratulations again. And Chris, that was Jason Speer saving unbelievably 80 laps. I mean, you think about that. 80 laps of fuel is almost 2 fuel runs, but Jason Speer was able to get done. I think you're staying down there with our first guy on the podium, Bobby Terrell, who came home third.
I certainly am. Bobby Terrell on this number 5 machine sitting down here. Bobby, take us through your race here tonight.
Well, I had a very good long run car, and I mean, I guess as y'all saw, I got a little loose at the start and fell back, and I just worked my way up, and then I was passing Brody, I think, and it looked like he came down, and I just went down the track to avoid him, and got loose and almost got a speeding on pit row, and that put me back in 15th or 16th. But like I said, I knew I had a good long run car, so I just picked them off, and I got up to 6th or 7th, and then the caution come out, and then I just was picking them off, and just when I caught up to Brody and Bernie, I was teeter-totting between making it on fuel and not making it on fuel, and I thought if I saved some, I was just going to try to see if I could save fuel. I probably should have just kept moving forward, but because I think it hurt me in the long run trying to save, and then I seen I couldn't make it, so then I pitted, and then how it all cycled around, I ended up getting third, so I'll take it. I mean, I hate it. Jeff had the car to beat, and I don't really know what happened and what took place out there, but I hate it for him, but just glad to come in third.
And Bobby, you mentioned that incident with Brody Hanna where it looked like you came down onto the apron to try to avoid the 23. And really, what happened? Because it looked like, from our standpoint, as soon as you tried to get back on the track, the rear end just kind of took off from you.
Oh yeah, it just did. Yeah, I was hanging on after that point, and I was just trying to keep from not hitting anyone, and uh, me not getting a pit roads penalty for going inside that green cone. And then, like I said, I almost messed up because I really didn't mean to come back out on the track as soon as I did. And uh, I'm thankful that Richie, noticed it and he gave me some room. So a shout out to him because I think he probably could have, overtaken me, hitting me, but he seen me out of shape and he helped me out there. So shout out to him.
Fantastic. And yeah, you were able to move the cone, but not enough to get a penalty. So congratulations there, doing the best to make the most out of that situation. And then luckily the caution came out not too long after that to not make you lose any more positions. But congratulations here tonight, coming back to a third place finish. And Bobby, you got any friends, family, sponsors, anyone that helps gets this number 5 to and from the track?
Well, my teammates, like I said, I was out of town all weekend and I relied on them to build the setup and test it. I didn't really have any time to test it until tonight. And then, like I said, when I got in practicing, I mean that thing was good. I knew it was a good long run car, and that's kind of what I was looking forward to. I was really hoping we would have some long green flag runs, but we didn't have it. But a shout out to my teammates. Like I said, I couldn't do it without them. You guys in the booth, all the admins in the league for everything they do, and Darkmatter Designs for sponsoring their series and giving us a place to race.
Oh, congratulations again here tonight on your third place finish. We'll head to next week to Pocono. Hope to see what this number 5 bunch can do there.
Yep, me too. Looking forward to it.
And Jeff or Jared, that is Bobby Terrell from third position, and I think you've caught up with Tim Bills in that number 77 machine.
Yeah, I'm down here at Tim Bills in the wheel and dealing number 77 machine. And Tim, you came through the field early in that race. You got yourself up into the top 5 within a few, probably about 15 laps. Man, that 77 car looked like it was on the rail. Did you have anything for the 31?
No, I don't think I had anything for Jeff. He was strong. He had a really good car out front, and but I think finished about where we thought I would after starting into the race. Really didn't know what kind of piece I'd have at the beginning, but it turned out pretty well. This was a fun track. Was kind of on the fence before after the truck race, but man, I really did after practicing a little bit more. Had a lot of fun driving around it.
Well, you won earlier this year. You got your first Cup career win at Dover, a concrete track. Now, I wouldn't say that Dover and Nashville Superspeedway are similar. They are owned by the same people, ironically enough. But did you take anything from that victory on a concrete surface and apply it to Nashville Superspeedway? Could you take anything and apply it to Nashville Superspeedway?
No, the setup was totally different. I don't think anything was gonna transfer over.
And you look at the season. I mean, you have really came on strong in this Cup Series over the last few weeks. Obviously, you were at the Dover race. You're sitting in the top 25 in points. You've got that win under your belt. We're looking ahead. We got 9 races to go until the playoffs starts. What's the mood like in that number 77 camp heading into these final 9 races? Are you nervous about falling out of the top 25? Do you feel like you're going to be there? Are you starting to look ahead at the playoffs?
Well, I'm having fun. So, come what it may, the just if we go out here and we just have fun, I think the races will come to us and we'll finish well.
Well, you're a defending Truck Series champion, and you had some great runs in that series. You've translated that over to the Cup Series. Looking ahead, we got Pocono up next. Are you excited about running that track or mixed feelings?
No, I think it'll be fun. Last couple of times I've ran there, I've had a good time running the track. Even, it's all about momentum. So we'll see what we can do.
All All right, Tim. Well, congratulations on that runner-up finish, but I have to ask you, you had to have seen that relative clicking down awfully quick coming off turn 3. Did you think you were going to catch TJ Bartel before the start-finish line?
Oh, I was trying. I was giving it everything that I had, and it just wasn't happening. I was hoping.
It was close. It ended up being 1.1 second, 1.15 seconds. So you came up just short, but Tim, congratulations on that runner-up finish. I'm going to let you have the last word. And again, congratulations.
I appreciate it, guys. I got to thank, first off, Russell Charneski. He worked on this setup this week, and it was a darn good one there. And then my sponsors, H&H Sign Supply and JustForCrafters.com.
All right. Thanks, Tim. And be sure to check out the sponsors that Tim's got on the car. But, Chris, I believe you're down in victory lane with a guy that came up on the right end of a fuel mileage race, maybe for the first time in his career, TJ Bartel. I think you're down there with him.
I certainly am. And TJ, we're sitting here looking at the tow truck and victory lane here with your car behind it. How did you make it from the rest of the race, saving as much fuel as you had to?
Well, to be honest, Bobby Terrell, I had some damage on that last caution there. I got loose and we were all wadded up, so some guys bounced off me and it caused a wreck. And I had some damage, and I'm like, man, I don't know what to do. I hate to give up all this track position. And Bobby's like, you know what? Got a decent car in the long run. Go in, get your damage fixed. Don't take any tires, fill her up with fuel, and see what happens. So Bobby telling me to do that, is really what precipitated that. And then just Wayne put such a good car under us for the long run. That thing was just so solid through the whole run.
It certainly was. And there at the end, you ran out of fuel coming to the start finish line, but Tim Bills wasn't able to catch you. Were you starting to get worried at all?
Well, I checked how much fuel I had, left at lap 100, and it said I had 55 plus. And I'm like, well, heck, I'm really good, because I should get, gain as I go, because the lap times are going to slow down. And so I didn't check it again. And I just kind of ran, my race. And if I caught somebody, I'd pass them, and, just trying to be smart and save tires and just kind of be steady. And it was a few laps to go, and my crew chief came on the radio and said that we were going to have to pit one more time. And I was like, what? So I checked again, and I was about a lap short. And so from that point until the last lap, I started clutching it, going down the front stretch and the back stretch, and just kind of rolling it as long as I could. And it was just enough, because I was going in through 3 and 4 in the last lap, and Bobby's like, you got this. And I'm like, no, I don't, because it's about out of gas right now. And I could see Tim was coming, and it just sputtered enough to get me across the line. So just by the skin of my teeth.
Absolutely. But you're telling me from lap 100 until pretty much the end of the race, you thought you were completely fine and good to go.
Yeah, because I wasn't trying to save, because not that I can save in iRacing. I don't, 2K3 I could save really well, but here I can't. And I would have been letting off a lot earlier, midway through the run at least, to try, and if I knew I was that close, just to try and give myself a cushion. But I was just lucky that it worked out, and I was able to squeak it across the line.
Lucky man in victory lane. TJ, have you got any fans, friends, anyone that helps get this 88 to and from the track?
Absolutely. The first one I got to thank is Wayne Grassi for giving me this opportunity, for believing that I could drive his cars and do something positive for him and the team. And the setups that he builds are really first rate. And I'm really happy that I was able to get the car, a really good finish that it deserved. We did really well at Darlington, but a couple other races we've had really good cars and struggled because I can't qualify very well. But just really thankful to Wayne, thankful to Bobby Terrell, Mike Watts, my teammates. They do such an awesome job, and they're always coaching and helping each other, and it's just a blast to run with those guys. And Blackwater Products, because they do a lot for this league, and Darkmatter Designs for sponsoring the series. you and Jared for doing such an awesome job up in the booth. FTSR TV, FTSR the league, my fellow drivers. Just it's a good place to race. There's so much competition here, so to win a race in this league is just I'm really overjoyed.
Well, you started 29th and ended up parking it in victory lane. TJ, we head to Pocono next week, another track that's known for fuel mileage racing. What can we expect out of this 88 bunch heading to Pocono?
Well, I like Pocono. Kind of figured out how to drive that a little bit better, so I, am kind of looking forward to it. So we'll see what we can do. It's a matter of balancing the car out through those three really difficult corners that are so different from each other. So, and like you said, you've always got to be cognizant of fuel mileage there. So we'll load that 88 car up and take it to Pennsylvania, see what we can do up there.
Absolutely, and we look forward to watching it next Wednesday or next Monday night. Congratulations again on your P1 finish, TJ.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
And Jared, a completely lucky TJ Bartel ends up parking in victory lane and did not even know that he was even close to not making it on fuel until the last couple of laps there. That's incredible.
That's incredible, and it's been he won. I was looking back, Chris. He won the very first iRacing Cup Series race in Full Throttle Sim Racing in 2018, and he hasn't. This is now 3.5 years that he was gone without a victory. TJ is a close personal friend of mine, and raced with him for 15, almost 20 years now, and I'm really happy to see him pull off this victory. But what a run for him! But as we talked about earlier. Chris, we can't leave this track without talking about the 31 machine and the fact he didn't end up in victory lane.
Yeah, absolutely. A heartbreak for that 31. Definitely thought that he would be the one in victory lane here and TJ would be second. But man, a rough incident with him and the 11 car. Certainly not something that anyone wants for their. But we'll move on next week to Pocono, the tricky triangle, and we'll have to see where the cards fall there.
Yeah, we look at the results before we check out. Bartel with the win. Bills, Terrell, and Speer, you heard from those guys. Doucette recovers to grab fifth. He was another driver that was able to save fuel, but he topped off a couple times. Person, Williford, Helm finished in 6th, 7th, and 8th. Torgerson and Coy, your top 10. Ballard, Watts, Grassi, Lang, Nolan, and Rachel Hunt, your top 15. Mayu, Schultz, Vrooman, and Brody Hanna will finish in the top 20. And Jeff Chandler will finish all the way back in 27th position. We look at the point standings as well. And not a lot of changes. Bobby Terrell continuing to lead. He's got a 52-point lead now over Richie Coy, who moves ahead of Casey Mullen, as does Troy Torgerson. The top 10 doesn't change much, but Dean Doucette with a nice top 5 run moves into 10th position. So that's good news for him. And you look back even further back, at that top 25 battle, and you'll see that Ralph Nolan doesn't quite get in the top 25, but closes that gap down. Jeff Chandler actually ends up losing a position in points, which is not what he wanted as we head into Pocono next week, Chris.
We certainly do. Pocono, big track, a lot of things can happen. Tunnel turn, difficult to pass in, but a lot of guys will attempt it. It's a lot easier to do in an F1 car than it is in these big, heavy stock cars where you're sliding around through the corner, but someone's going to try it. Someone's going to not make it.
Exactly right. And you can catch all that action, as Chris said, on Monday night. We'll be in the booth, myself and Chris Speer, on Monday night, covering all the action at Pocono Speedway. No doubleheader like they do in real life, just one race at 200 miles. And it's going to be excellent to watch and see what happens at that tricky triangle. But before that, if you want to know what this race is going to bring, we have some big races this week, actually. We have the next-gen cars with the Kickin' Asphalt Racing League. They will be on Tuesday night. Wednesday night, we'll have the Blackwater products at Pocono. The truck series from Full Throttle Sim Racing will be there. And then on Saturday night, the Full Throttle Sim Racing Sports Car Series returns from their off week, and they're going to be at Circuit Park Zandvoort for their second race of the season. So a lot of action here this week on Full Throttle TV. Hope you'll join us every night and pack in all the action. But for Chris Speer, for Full Throttle Sim Racing, for Full Throttle TV, I'm Jared Carr. We will see you guys out on the track.